Okay then guys, what's going on? Cloud Plays here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we are inside of Wayfinder and we have got a load of information for you guys, including in-game holidays, associated quests, a load of talk about specific loot farming, modifiers and the like of PvP. So with that being said, let's dive on into the information. If you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. Now with that being said, let's dive on into some Wayfinder news. So just recently they hosted a Q&A session on their designated Discord. If you want to join that, I'll leave the link down in the description. There's a lot of cool things that happen over there, but the community managers were diving in for some information. Somebody asked, will the game include in-game holidays and associated quests / events? Now, Solid Age actually responded this, saying, yes, there is currently some conversation philosophically about whether you should celebrate holidays in-game that will collide with real-life holidays, or you can create your own to make it feel more in-world, but we will have something. So the likelihood is that, like a lot of other live service games, we're going to experience events during in-game holidays, including and not limited to Halloween, Easter, Christmas, and so much more, with a load of in-game exclusive items, or at least this is how other games work. They also have associated quests and events, which means that essentially we should have quest lines specific to these holiday events and stuff like that. That for me is really, really cool, and I think with a live service game, it's extremely important that we do have this sort of stuff. It keeps the game really relevant, and it keeps the time consumption going up with people having more things to do on a regular basis. On top of that though, when you start talking about the loot that you are going to obtain, whether it's better loot, specific loot, or specific events, what we have is a question here, but the context behind it is that they have imbuements. Now imbuements are combining so you can essentially add modifiers and you'll make what's called a mutator. They don't actually tell you what combinations to do, they'll be up to the players to discover for themselves. Think of it almost like cooking in Breath of the Wild. You'll fill out your discovery book as you try different combinations and face new challenges. So as you put new imbuements together and add them into what's called a mutator, you are actually going to have different combinations that are going to unlock and utilize different things. So the question that was actually behind it is there a reason to run these? Better loot, material drops, etc., or is this just for fun? Now, Solid Age actually responded with that one by saying better loot and specific loot, specific events or enemies. Lots of reasons. Now this is huge for me because I am a massive farmer. I can sit there for hours farming the exact same thing for a specific piece of loot. Don't ask me why, it makes absolutely no sense at all, but I do find quite a lot of achievement by doing this stuff. So what we do know is that you are going to be able to farm for specific loot, so once certain loot is found and we know that certain things are going to give you more of a buff than others, we're also going to be able to find out exactly how to get it. Now for me, a looter shooter is really, really crucial that they have this sort of mechanic in game, so it's really good that they've lent into it because a specific loot drop with allocation as to where certain things will be is extremely important. They go on to state, is there a point to modifiers like extra loot, or is it just for fun? Somebody says that it is certain things will only show up with mutators. So not only is the specific loot targeted to these areas, there is areas that you are only going to be able to obtain that loot in those areas. So making sure you use specific mutators and the modifiers will mean that you have to use those to obtain that gear. Is it guaranteed that that is going to drop? We're yet to see how the mechanic will actually work with that sort of stuff, but I'm really interested to see how this will work. Is it guaranteed if you use certain mutators that you are going to obtain the loot, or do you have to farm with those mutators on to be able to utilize that as well? Let me know what you guys are thinking down in the comment section. But something that I found really interesting was somebody said, do you know if there will be any PvP? Now, Sir Snarf, a really cool guy, a guy that watches the channel quite a lot, so if you happen to watch this video, Snarf, massive shout out to you, my dude. But he actually states, at the moment focused on making the PvE as good as possible. The next local step is PvP VE, which is always a mouthful to get out in Norm. But PvP down the line isn't out of the question though, just want to make sure it is excellent and not just an afterthought to fit a quote-unquote technicality. Now, this for me is absolutely huge, and I think that this is a really, really good answer. The reason for that is because PvP sometimes can be stemmed across inside of these PvE games in a really half-baked, half-assed way, and it just kind of like just gets plonked in there. So the fact that Airship Syndicate are actually looking at working this in a more perfected format and kind of utilizing the PvPvE first and then utilizing the PvP later down the line means that we are still going to have new stuff that are going to be coming to the game, new things that we're going to be able to utilize, and the PvP aspect does need to be done right. This is something that I will stress quite highly. PvP sometimes can make or break a game, and sometimes it can even carry it through to the end. So I'm really impressed with the way that they've kind of taken a look at this. Actually, whilst we're talking about it, I'm actually really impressed about the game overall. The way that Airship Syndicate has genuinely approached this game has been absolutely incredible. During their betas and stuff like that, the information that was given back was generally quite detailed, and a lot of people had a lot of specific things that they liked and disliked, and the company have genuinely run this so that it's mainly community based. What essentially I mean by that is they've genuinely listened to absolutely everything that's being given towards them. They're really, really communicative, and they really do like just being able to talk to the creators, being able to talk to the community as an overall, and really get the feedback from it and actually implement as much as they can from this. Just as an instance, like we mentioned earlier in the video, Sir Snarf genuinely does watch quite a lot of the content that goes up online and likes to take a lot of feedback from it. For me, that doesn't come along too often. The community managers and the developers inside of this game have genuinely done such a brilliant job that I have got so much hope for this game. It is absolutely mental. So, for those of you guys from Airship, please, if you're listening, don't mess this up. You've got such a great core here that you can genuinely work with this so well. So there we have it. That's all we've got time for today. When we look at things as an overall, we've got real life holidays that could be created to in-game movements, or they could even potentially build their own holidays to suit alongside it. We've got all new challenges that are going to bring a specific loot and modifiers that are going to change the experience of the game for the better, and a potential new PvP that could be coming. How could they make the PvP accessible? Give them some ideas down in the comment section below. Could we be looking at a RuneScape style PvP where we have specific areas that are PvP related and you can only attack each other when in those areas? Or are we going to be looking at specific servers where we take it in and we have a whole planet that we can use for a PvP access? We have arena style PvP where you guys are just going to be able to go to an arena and allocate in for a 1v1, a 2v2 or a 3v3. How do you guys want to see it? Let Airship know down in the comment section below and give them some really cool ideas. Me myself, I like the RuneScape mentality. I like when you hop into a server and you end up going to a specific area. Once you step through that doorway or step through that portal, you are then into the PvP realm. That for me works absolutely incredible, and it kind of worked really well with maybe like the Division and stuff like that when they had the Dark Zone. That again worked really, really well, and I think it's something that they could really incorporate into this game quite a lot. That's all we got time for today though. Thank you so much again for watching, guys. I appreciate all your faces. Let Airship know your ideas in the comment section, but appreciate you all. We've got loads of videos coming your way with loads more talk about loads of other things, including housing. Thanks again for watching. Appreciate your faces, and as always, I'll see you in the clouds.